Hello, welcome. You're watching Fox Sports News this Thursday morning, August 27. Jim Callanan in the chair. It's great to have your company on a day. Aussie boxing operates under a whole new reign. Tim Tszyu stepping from his father's rather large shadow and asserting himself as the new king of Australian boxing after he completely dominated former world champion Jeff Horn in Townsville. Joining me in studio now, boxing commentator Paul Up. And Paul, great to have your company the morning after the night before. Tim Tszyu was just too strong, too quick and too powerful for the Hornet.
Oh, he was. Like, it was so impressive. Not just that he won, it was the way that he won. Look, we talked yesterday and I said that I thought Tim would win, but no way did I think he was going to be so dominating. I don't think Jeff Horn won a minute of any round. And it was just the calm and the composure of Tim Tszyu. He just was in controlling the middle of the ring. His punches, he's not going to be a one-punch knockout artist like his father, but he's got good power, but the accuracy of the punches. But the thing that stood out for me was his defence. Early on there, Jeff Horn was just rushing him, and it was like Matador to the bull, the way that he made Jeff miss, and he countered with such precision punching. And he has adopted the Tszyu boxing system, and wow, every time I see him fight, I think he's improved so much. And I was so impressed last night with the way he improved, because Jeff Horn's a quality opponent, but he was never in the fight.
Physically, did he match Horn better on those stakes, or was it just technically and better executed game plan?
I think that he's got height about him. He was a little bit taller than Jeff Horn. Horn's got a more crouching style, but he used that height to his advantage. But it's technically, he's just got those boxing skills now. He's got the physical ability. You know, he's got a fantastic team around him. I talked yesterday about his trainer, Igor Gulubev, who people probably wouldn't even know who that is. That's the uncle. He's got his grandfather, Boris, in the corner. Glenn Jennings, the team manager. Dr. Bill's there. The team that was around Costa Tszyu and went through so many big fights has now provided him the perfect base for develop. And it's like a masterclass. Like, I normally talk about fighters having 20 fights and seeing where they are. Tim's had 16 now, but because he's been exposed to the Tszyu boxing system and been coached up, he's probably more advanced than a lot of guys who only had 16 fights. And that's what makes it so impressive, that he's picked it up so quickly and he continues to improve.
Yeah, and he looked like he could have got another 8 rounds. He looked that good and unblemished after the bout. So it gave you an indication of just how dominant he was. Look, lots to talk as well about the decision to stop the fight in just before the 9th round. Not for the first time. His trainer, Glenn Rushton, got plenty of criticism for not stopping the fight sooner. And confusion reigned in the corner, didn't it? Before eventually it was stopped by the referee. This is how it played out.
But how much more punishment does he need to take?
No, I don't want to. I don't want to. What do you want to do? What do you want to do?
That says it all.
That's a terrible thing.
Have you got a punch?
The
Fighter's not going to say that.
Have you got a punch left in you or not? No. Want to give us a minute?
Oh, my God. Yeah, of course he's stopping it.
They've stopped the fight.
Of course they have.
And he's an all-new Tszyu. And now he's a superstar.
Ben and I were saying, let's give him 1 minute in round 9 to see if he can get out there and land that big shot. Yeah, if he can land a really big shot. We all know, we just saw the Dillian White fight. You know, the guy's a mile in front, one punch, it's all over. So we know how volatile boxing can be, but did he have that punch left in him, or is he just taking punishment unnecessarily? So we were going to give him 1 more minute, but Phil just come over and called it and said, I'm stopping the fight. So it is what it is.
I'm never going to throw in the towel myself. I'm never going to say I've had enough. But yeah, it was probably more a relief than anything that the ref was like, I've seen enough. I was like, all right, fine.
Yeah.
You're never going to throw in the towel, a champion like Jeff Horn. That's why you need a strong corner. And not for the first time, Rushton now answering criticism as to why he didn't do it sooner. And he's done it before, pushed them. And we've seen Jeff rise to the occasion, of course, famously so against Manny Pacquiao. What were your thoughts about what transpired in that corner ahead of the 9th? Because it looked like no one was really making a clear decision in the direct benefit of their fighter.
Well, you heard the exasperation of commentator Jeff Fennick there. You could just tell from his expression what was going on. But, you know, fighters fight. Jeff Horn explained there, he doesn't want to say, I'm going to quit. That's where the corner has to protect their fighter, give them every opportunity to win, but not sacrifice their ongoing health and safety. And, you know, the problem when you have a come-from-behind win against Michael Zarafa with Jeff Horn pulled that one punch out is, the trainer thinks he can do it again. So Glenn Rushton clearly wanted to give him another round or even more to try and win the fight. But, you know, Jeff Horn had nothing left. And I think most people watching the fight could see that. You could have stopped that fight a couple of rounds earlier, and I don't think anybody would have complained about it. I think there needs to be question marks there on Glenn Rushton looking at the self-interest of himself and Jeff Horn. You know, I know he wants Jeff Horn to win. I get that. I understand that. But he's not in there taking the punishment that Jeff Horn is. And, you know, I think you could have stopped that fight earlier. I think the referee, Phil Austin, did a fantastic job. He recognised that's it. Enough's enough. You want the corner to take the responsibility, take the pressure off the fighter. And ultimately, that didn't really happen. And Jeff Horn's going to keep wanting to fight every round, but someone's got to stop it for him.
All right, so there's a new king. We'll get to Tim's future in a moment. Jeff Horn, one question in two parts. At 32, with little else to prove and a young family on the rise, a couple of daughters at home that he couldn't wait to get home and cuddle, given he's been in isolation, does he fight on? Should he fight on? If he does, who is in his corner?
You hit the nail on the head there. Nothing else to prove. You know, if you said when he started his career, coming out of the Olympics, he was going to be a world champion, beat the great Manny Pacquiao, earn millions of dollars, and lift Australian boxing up, you'd take that. You know, there's nothing else for him to do. And, you know, if he is going to continue on, and I don't think he should, he's going to have to make some changes. And the first thing I think he should do is he's have to look at his trainer, you know, because what he's doing now is not working. He would need to bring another co-trainer in or another trainer in and do it differently, because the way he's doing it, he can't just say he's got to train harder, because I'm sure he trained hard. But technically, it's just not working for him. And the ironic, you know, Glenn Rushton is probably going to be the one who maybe wants him to continue on and think, look, we can do better. But maybe he needs to move Rushton on and look at a different trainer. Look, I don't know their direct relationship. They seem to be very close together. Whether Jeff would consider another trainer or not, I don't know. But for me, I think Jeff Horn, you've done everything. There's nothing else to be done. You'll be a hero to Australian boxing fans, and it's time to hang him up and enjoy your family life. And as you mentioned, you know, he's got two fantastic children now and a wife who loves him. So, you know, go back to them.
And one of the things he can enjoy is the rise of Tim Tszyu. I think we're all going to be doing that. 16-0 and with plenty of tomorrows. What and who should he be chasing next?
Well, obviously the option now is the WBO super welterweight champion from Brazil, Patrick Tszyu. Tim will get a high ranking now in the WBO, and it won't be so much about the ranking. We have to praise Premier Palaszczuk in Queensland and the Queensland people for how they've handled the pandemic, because that was special last night. There's no boxing around the world right now with big crowds. We've seen boxing in the UK and the USA recently with no crowds. The invitation is out there now to put big fights on in Australia, and not just for Tim Tszyu. The Maloney brothers are looking for world title fights, and I'm sure their promoter in America, Bob Arum, is thinking now, ooh, I can have a big world title, maybe dual fight for the Maloney brothers in Australia. But Tim Tszyu, yeah, look, Patrick Tszyu, he's 33-1, record 29 years of age. He's a southpaw. You know, I think it's a very, very winnable fight from Tim. Another couple of months of training. I'd love to see that fight before Christmas here in Australia. Let's put it on in Queensland and have a big crowd there. And I think, you know, Tim Tszyu, wow. You know, expectations are enormous now for what he showed last night, and I think he's got the right head on his shoulders to be out there and get it.
How realistic is that to have a fight like that down under when he's the challenger, not the champion?
Well, in boxing, boxers don't get paid unless they fight. And I'm not sure Tszyu has got no other fights scheduled at this stage. He's been promoted by Oscar de la Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions. But, you know, the other flip side of that is they're going to say, well, Jeff Horn, his reputation in America is not so good, because they think maybe he didn't deserve the win against Manny Pacquiao. He was beaten convincingly by Terence Crawford. They'll look at Tim Tszyu and say he's a novice, we can beat him, it's a good payday, I'm not getting paid in Brazil otherwise, so why wouldn't he take the fight? You know, world champions think they can beat anybody on the planet. That's their mentality. So I think he would take that fight. I'm sure the promoter, Matt Rose, was going to try and make it. If not, they'll do another fight for Tim Tszyu, which is able to improve his performances and give him more experience before a world title fight. But I have no qualms right now putting Tim Tszyu in for that world title fight. I think it's a winnable fight. All
right, let's see how it all unplays and just what the future may hold for Jeff Horn. We might hear a bit more about that in the coming days as well. All right, Paul, great to have your insights over the last couple of days, and let's hope we get that world title fight down under.
Fingers crossed. Thanks, Jim.
Good on you, Paul. Up in there, our boxing contributor and commentator here on Fox Sports News. Moving on.